Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. A little NBA bid action coming at you. Officially, everyone has played some basketball now, so that's exciting. This morning, we'll talk a little bit about last night's action. We'll also catch up on Wednesday night, too, since the NBA bits now on Monday, Wednesday, Friday instead of Monday through Friday. We got a couple days of action to get through. But more importantly, who do we have in the chat? We got Sneeps up in here. Sneeps, I want to apologize to the VIPs. I know Sneeps was going through it last night as well. We came very close to the members, very close to a pretty big pick'em hit. It was a 3-leg parlay, but Underdog gave us that 50% boost. And Chris Paul, we got rugged at the end. Chris Paul threw an alley-oop, I think it was it Sohan? Who did it go to? Maxi Kleber just came out of nowhere, shut it down. Brutal stuff. We got T-Man up in here. We got Reese, good morning. 3DK in the house. Conman letting us know it's Romeo Langford and Jacques Landale. We got Matic Otto in the house. Maddie Harrison, Daniel, Jay Blaze up in here. We good. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. A couple of business things here before we dive into last night's action. So if you missed out, we had the 89 Cavs. They returned last night. That was a lot of fun. So go check that out, whether it's in podcast form or whether you want to go rewatch it on YouTube. That was on this channel. And then today we got a bunch of stuff going on after the bit. So over on the Elite Fantasy Hoops channel, we'll have a members-only video go up sometime midday to look at tonight's NBA action. And then we have Live Before Lock and the return of Worldwide WAP. Rob Perez coming back on the show for Live Before Lock, which is pretty exciting. And then we also, I believe, SORARE NBA is going to have a fun announcement later today. And when that happens, we'll have another video go live as well, kind of breaking down what this means for galleries, what we should be doing. It's not really a strategy, more just like an idea of what we got cooking for something that's coming up right around the corner. So get excited for that. I think that's it for business stuff. And then we made it to the weekend for more basketball action. But let's get into it. So we're out of beta. Let's get into last night's fun stuff here. And we'll kind of go game by game for last night, and then we'll do some other stuff as well. Let's see if this works correctly. Hold on, let me share it this way. Let's start with that Thunder Nuggets game, huh? It was fun seeing. Oh, wait, Steve saying you kept getting SORARE ads and watching TNT last night. There you go, dude. Oh, we're early. Between that and Miles Turner saying get Benedict Mathurin a Top Shot moment, huh? We're back, baby. We're freaking back. Last night's game, OKC, it was funny, man. Denver kind of came out in the first 6 minutes of this game. I don't know how many people watched this one because it was the late one. But the first 6 minutes of the game, Jokic kind of was like, hey, I'm still here. Denver was like, we're not dead yet. They came out, looked pretty dominant in that first 6 to 8 minutes. Christian Browntown was going out there. He was doing some stuff. He finished the game with 16.7 boards and assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. But he had like most of that in the first 5 minutes of the game. And then OKC goes on a nice little run to close the quarter. They end up with a 7-point lead at the end of the first. And then they don't look back. They finished that game up 102-87. And just like, I think the biggest story here was Chet Holmgren showing up playing against a big boy. I think when we think back to last season and when Chet was effective, it's like, oh, Thunder playing small ball, stretch the floor a little bit. When they don't have a dominant big, Chet Holmgren can eat. Well, last night he did it against Jokic, right? Last night he did it against the Joker, and again finished with 25 points, 14 boards, 5 steals, 4 blocks. I'm sorry, 5 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals, partridge in a pear tree. Did a little bit of everything last night. And it was funny, man. I was kind of like disappointed we weren't going to get Hartenstein in this matchup. And I was like, oh, it's not really a matchup between the two. But OKC is freaking good, man. He is freaking good. They are freaking good, excuse me. J-Dub, a little disappointing, 5 for 16 for the field. He only had 12 points, 5 turnovers. I think he might still be a little dinged up. Regulator says, does Joker look out of shape? I mean, when has Joker looked in shape? I don't know if there's been a time where I've been like, this guy looks awesome right now, physically. Common Man saying Chet overs and Wemby's unders fed you last night. Yeah, that was good. Good call by you. One of the guys we talked about preseason when the Hartenstein injury went down. This is more from a fantasy perspective, a SORARE perspective. Ushmani Jang ended up getting 13 minutes, and I kind of figured it was going to be in that 12 to 16 range. He finished with 6 points, 3 boards, and a block. I think his cap was 6, so obviously he got there, but nothing crazy. I will say what I kind of found surprising was Isaiah Joe got into the starting lineup. Caruso only played 19 minutes, was plus 19 in his 19 minutes with no points, only 2 field goal attempts, six boards and 4 dimes. That's some real Caruso shit for you. But Aaron Wiggins played 20. Case and Wallace too played 23. I mean, just look at this Thunder roster, man, and they just have so many different guys that they can throw at you. I mean, they're so deep, and this is without Hartenstein, right? So they're starting 5 of Chet, J-Dub, SGA, Isaiah Joe, and Lou Dort report. Yeah, we are going to do the freaking drop. We're going to talk about Doherty. We're going to say reporty. Speaking of, there we go, jump shoot in the house. But yeah, you throw those 5 guys out there, man. I love 5 guys. And then they still are able to throw Caruso, Wiggins, Case, and Wallace all off the bench. It's just a deep-ass team, man. Denver, if you don't want to panic too much, right? I think Denver is not the best team in the league anymore, right? We've got the OKC Thunder and Dallas Mavericks vying for pole position there. But listen, they hung with them. It kind of, double digits for most of the second half, but Jokic got a triple-double. Jokic actually looking like Sabonis out there with that line, 16 points, 13 dimes, 12 boards. If you want to feel some positive stuff here from Denver, Jamal Murray didn't shoot the ball well, so that's not positive. But Christian Brown did look good, and you weren't really sure what you were going to get from him. Double-digit scoring from all of their 5 guys, their 5 starters. Julian Strawther, the Strawther Hive rise up. He played 17 minutes, 3 for 6 from the field, finished with 6 points. I will say, though, the bench got absolutely hammered. Look at this, man. Minus 13 from Peyton Watson, minus 24 from Russ, minus 23 from Julian Strawther. And that's always the concern with the Denver Nuggets is you take Jokic off the floor, and then all of a sudden you get banged down pretty bad. I will say Christian Brown, literally the only guy on this team that had a positive plus minus with a plus 8 in 29 minutes. So just some weird stuff from the Denver bench. Or maybe it's not weird. Maybe that's just what they do all the time. But anyways, I think they are what they thought they were, right? Where we talk about OKC. Jay Blaze says let's have one more off C for Strawther. So it's one more off game week for Strawther. So his price drops, then he can take off. Yeah. I mean, I feel good about from the preseason prediction, I feel good about Strawther's role. I mean, for him to play 17 minutes in game 1, pretty good for that. Pretty happy about that. Let's go to the other Western contenders here. Dallas wins 120 to 109. This was kind of a funny game because it felt like Dallas was in control the entire time. And then 2 or 3 times in the game, San Antonio would go on this I don't know if it was 12-2. They'd go on this run, and all of a sudden it's a 4-point game again. And then it's almost like Dallas was like, okay, we got to stop messing around. Ricky Ricardo in the chat. Let's go. I will say Wemby, man, left a lot to desire. And I don't even know if that's how And maybe Common Man, you have some more thoughts on this in the chat, but I don't necessarily think Dallas did anything. I don't think Dallas like figured out the skeleton key to shutting down Wemby. It just kind of felt like a little rusty. But anyways, the Wembanyama lines 5 for 18 from the field, not great, Bob. 1 for 8 from 3, not great, Bob. Look at these starters: CP3 minus 21, Wemby minus 20, Harrison Barnes minus 12, Jeremy Beware the Sohan minus 12, and then Julian Champagna minus 19. Some gross stuff. And I mean, you look at the bench too, like Keldon Johnson, a real bench piece, right? Played 25 minutes for them off the bench. After that, man, it's Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Stephon Castle in his debut, 3 for 7 from the field, 8 points, 5 dimes. I don't know. But Dallas, man, let's play the drop, dude, because the Magic has returned. Luka Magic. There we go. Perhaps Lively should have went number 1 overall. Let's relax. Lively's not even your starting big man. I actually did think that was kind of intriguing that they still went with Gafford, who played 19 minutes, and yet Lively comes off the bench and played 28 minutes. Lively is their best guy. But Luka finishes with, a classic Luka line at 28 points, 10 boards, and 8 dimes. He got off to a slow start and then started looking good. 3-ball wasn't really falling, but Luka looked great. But hey, listen, the revenge tour, redemption tour, Klay Thompson Island, we're still here, all right? Klay looked awesome. And what I loved about this Klay performance is it happened right away. Similar to what we saw from Jason Tatum in game 1 when he knocks down 4 triples in the first. Klay comes out, immediately has 2 steals in the first quarter, knocks down a couple of jumpers, just looked great. And he finished that game with 22 points, 7 boards. He was a plus 16 in his minutes on the court, 7 for 13 from the field. And 6 for 10 from 3. Klay Thompson, 60% from 3 to start the season. Love to see that. And it's just, man, it's like, how do you defend this team? And San Antonio's not the right team to be like, is anybody going to be able to stop Dallas? Because San Antonio is not going to be very good. As Tesla said in the chat, Spurs improving by 10 plus games this season was the biggest joke of the offseason. Yeah. 10 games is a lot. 10 games is a lot. But wet like I'm booked. Good to see you, man. But Dallas is just a fun team, man. You look at their top 7 or 8, and it's just solid stuff. Like Najee Marshall playing 21 minutes. That was a great offseason pickup from the Pellies this offseason. You got Lively off the bench, Najee Marshall, and then they were able to get Jaden Hardy 20 minutes, Quentin Grimes 15 minutes. Quentin Grimes scoring 2 points, but plus 11 with really no stats out there. And then Maxi Kleber, man. Kleber's such an interesting piece because I do think he impacts winning without doing a lot of statistical stuff, And so Dallas, right where they left off, man, right where they left off. And also PJ Washington out there, 2 for 7 from 3, 11 points. Yeah, let's abuse the drops. PJ Washington. PJ Washington. PJ Washington. I see Juan Stockton in the chat saying Jaden Hardy 6th man of the year. It's fun. The reason I really like Hardy back there is he's technically their backup point guard, but really you can stagger the minutes between Luka and Kyrie as running point. But Jaden Hardy's more of Jordan, like a poor man's Lou Will, poor man's Jordan Clarkson, right? You kind of just roll him out there, and if the shot's flowing, it's just like an injection. An injection of speed. Let him fly around there. And last night in the 20 points, in the 20 minutes, you only had 11 points and a couple of dimes and a board. But it's just you get to see what if he's cooking, you let him cook for a little bit. It's just a nice injection of a different style of offense while he's out there. Because the pace in which Luka and Kyrie plays is so much slower than when Jaden Hardy comes out there. So it's a nice change of pace. Tessa saying, was Klay's performance more about a lighter role in Dallas or a recovery in play from last season? Dude had a lot of wide open looks. Yeah, that's what we were saying this offseason. I think it's a couple of things. I really think, not to get all Better Health promo code hold. I'm just kidding. We don't have one. But I do think when you are in this place of Golden State where you were thought of as 1B to Steph Curry's 1A, even though there was a clear step down, there's just a mental thing that happens there where there's an expectation from both you and from the fans, right? And then all of a sudden, you get out there and it's you're not doing the same thing. Honestly, it's not the same because one is a professional athlete and I'm almost 40. But every time I go out for a run, my brain still thinks I am 18 and can run a 5:15 mile, So I still my brain is still like, come on, we gotta go, we gotta go. And then I look at my split and it's like, oh, 8:15 or 7:45, whatever it was. And then that feels bad for my brain. It makes me not want to run anymore because it's a reminder that I am not what I once was. And I wonder if it was similar like that for Clay, where he's like in Golden State and he's just like, oh, I'm not going to get 37 points in the third quarter on 3 dribbles. And so I think he goes to Dallas. It's a fresh start. And like you were saying too, Tesla, you have Luka out there, man. You're the third option. You got Luka and Kyrie, and we just need you to be over in the corner and knock down triples. Common Man said, I heard someone say it's similar to Derrick Henry. The only reason we can't make it similar to Derrick Henry is because Derrick Henry was still cooking. He was on a bad team, but Henry was still cooking, even when he was on Tennessee. So I just think the game will come a little bit more naturally to him now. And he doesn't have to force anything. And listen, if he had gone, like he goes 6 for 10 for 22 points, I promise you, if he went 3 for 5 and finished with 18 points, Dallas fans would still be like, hell yeah, this is great. Because now defenders have to choose, like, can't double Luka because now we've got one of Kyrie or Clay most likely open. And then with freaking, Lively and Gafford are just like the perfect role guys, like rim runners for this style of offense. And then, like, yes, you are losing a lot defensively when you have Luka, Kyrie, and Klay Thompson on the floor at the same time. But PJ Washington, bring out the clampies, baby. Bring out the clampies. So again, we're not going to try to go nuts after game one where they played freaking the San Antonio Spurs, who are probably going to win 29 to 30 games. But I mean, Dallas right where they left off. They look really good. They're going to be a fun team. Let's go over to Minnesota here, who had a redemption last night here. What's up, David Hill? Good to see you. We had the T-Wolves get their W, and it was a little hairy at first, man, because Sacramento got out in front a little bit in the first quarter, and it seemed like Minnesota was still going to do their same thing. And I was thinking of Borland. I was thinking of Borland last night and all Minnesota fans because you got quote unquote robbed by the refs with the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty. Then you got robbed last night in the Vikings-Rams game, where I don't know if you guys watched that, but Sam Darnold got absolutely face masked on that last drive that they didn't call, and it turned into a safety or whatever it was. And then I was like, is Minnesota really going to start 0-2? And then our boy, our fan favorite, no one's ever said anything bad about him.
A regular season,
Randall woke up. Wait, hold on. Juan Stockton said, I was told Dallas wasn't going to be able to play defense. I was told Clay was washed. Well, I mean, okay. If you cannot victory lap the defensive performance against the San Antonio Spurs, okay? If you can't name 3 guys on their bench, you can't say that. All right, back to Minnesota. Efficient Randall, 5 for 6 from behind the arc. 33 points, 5 boards, 4 dimes. Really good stuff for them. And Minnesota won the second half, and that's what did it. They outscored the Kings by 6 points in the second half. They win 117-115, 65 points. Oh, yeah, there we go. Slide. Randall Redemption. I'm sorry. Yeah, slide everybody's yelling at me. I'm sorry, homies. Hold on. Here we go. Bang. There you go. But the Randall Redemption story. But yeah, they combined 65 points between Randall and Ant-Man. Rudy with 11 boards, only 3 points. It's funny, man. 65 points between those two bros, and then 15 points with the rest of the starters. And then Naz Reid had a nice bounce back game after what we saw in game one was a little concerning because it was like, Naz is a great 6-man, and that's what he was doing here last night too. But without Cat, he's now expected to do a little bit more, right? A little bit more, stretched a little bit more thin. But in the 27 minutes, he goes 4 for 7 from 3, 6 for 10 for the field. He looked great with a nice double-double. And then DiVincenzo and Alexander Walker both dumped in 9. They shrunk it to a 9-man rotation last night. Still no Rob Dillingham. He still hasn't made his way onto the court. But good stuff for Minnesota. I was curious how they were going to bounce back because the vibes were bad after game one. Randall looked kind of lost out there. Definitely a little bit more efficient and assertive in this game. I will say Minnesota back-to-back games giving up, well, they didn't give up too many points against the Lakers, but defense still leaving something to desire. We see, like, let's take a look at the new look Kings here. DeMar DeRozan, DDR, his first game, he goes 7 for 18 for the field, drops 26 and 8. Bone, 24 and 8. What I thought was kind of interesting, only 1 assist from Sabonis. I can't remember the last time Sabonis wasn't just kind of getting the ball at the elbow and dishing in diamond with a 2-man game in Fox. And I think that probably has a lot to do with the addition of DeMar DeRozan. Not that DeRozan is this offensive facilitator, but I think DeRozan, being a mid-range assassin that he is, it's kind of putting him and Sabonis like too close together in the paint or in that like elbow area. So that's going to be something to watch if we like, because again, if you are a fantasy god Bone, I mean, 24 and 8 is fine, but with the draft capital you were taking in best ball or whatever it is, 24 and 8 is not going to get it done. Keegan, though, 23 and 11 from Keegan Murray. Nice little double-double. Was interested to see how he was going to perform with the addition of DeMar DeRozan. And I think like Keegan Murray's just going to be doing what we expect Kevin Huerter to do. Kevin Huerter, who got into the starting lineup but only played 20 minutes for the Kings last night. Keegan Murray, 5 for 10 from 3, man. If he's going to chuck 10 triples every single game, that's a good place to start. That's a good place to start for them. So, we love that. We love that from Kegels. Fox here had a double-double. What does the Fox say? He says 15 and 11. And then Malik Monk off the bench doing Monk stuff, played 26 minutes, dropped 17 and 4 for him. I don't think we have to panic about lighting the beam. We're just not doing it on game 1. Common Man says, as a secondary scorer, would you rather have Cat or Randall? I honestly think that matters with the roster construction. Because like Cat with a secondary scorer, like if you need more spacing to stretch the floor, I think Cat makes a ton of sense on your team. However, if you are, Randall does do a little bit more playmaking than Cat does. Not that Cat is a bad passer. I think Cat actually, for a big man, is a solid passer. But Randall can do some real offensive facilitating, and like he gets in those rhythms, he's good. The issue with, like, if Randall plays like he did last night, no one's going to have any problems. The issue you run into with Randall is you are going to have a couple of stretches throughout the season, hopefully not in the playoffs, where he just kind of shuts down a little bit. And that's what you have to worry about. David says, I don't think Cat or Randall are legit number 2s for Ant. I mean, you can say that, David, and I get it. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year. You know what I mean? Like, so I think, I guess, like, if you, they were so close to winning a title. So I don't know if that is essentially true. And you're also saying that about Anthony Edwards, who's like barely can drink alcohol in a bar, So like he is just starting to ascend into what he's going to look like 5 or 6 years from now. So I don't necessarily know if that's true. Because I think Cat actually being there at what made Cat good for Ant-Man is this floor spacing, especially with somebody like Rudy. I know they struggled with that early on in that team identity, but down the stretch, that worked out a lot better for him. Now, Randall, if he's going to shoot 5 or 6 from 3 and he's going to force people to cover him at the 3-point land, then forget it. Like, it doesn't matter. But I don't think we can expect 80% from 3-point land from regular season Randall. Anyways, all right, let's go over to what other games did we had one other game from last night. And don't worry, homies, I'm going to do it. Bang, segment 3, Celtic Pride. Listen, they played the Washington Wizards, so we should all chill out, right? There's no reason to freak out about the Wizards here. But Jason Tatum, dude, like, no, he did not go 8 for 11 this time. He went 3 for 11, so that means he's 11 for 22 from 3 through 2 games. But, man, he just looks comfy and cozy out there. Finished the game going 9 for 20 from the field, 25 points, 11 boards, 6 dimes. Derek White had 19, another solid performance from him. And then Jaylen Brown, dude, happy birthday, Jaylen Brown. Happy birthday. 27 points, 8 boards, 3 dimes, put 4 steals on top of it as well. And then Peyton Pritchard hit Peyton Pritchard stuff, right? 5 for 10 from 3, hit an almost or like a 3/4 court shot that didn't count or whatever it was. You got double digits from Nemias Keita, the pride of Portugal. and they dropped 122 in Washington. It was a 1-point lead at the end of the first, and I was like, oh, man. I had like alluded to this in one of the other shows that we did. Like Celtics had all this energy after getting their rings and those sick-ass jackets. They opened the season at the Garden. They dismantled the Knicks, who were supposed to be their rivals this season. And then I was like, I wonder if they go on the road to Washington 2 days later and kind of fall apart a little bit. And it did look close for a while. And then after the first quarter, I mean, they outscore them by 9 in the second and then by 15 in the third. Washington, I guess if you want to, feel good about the Wizards, Jordan Poole looked all right. Jordan Poole, 26 points, 4 dimes, and 4 steals. Bilal Coulibaly, man, I like the Coulibaly stuff. I do. I'm a sucker for these trash bin fellas on the Wizards, but 8 points, 6 dimes, 6 boards, and a steal. What I thought was pretty interesting from the Wizards, and I actually think this is ultimately a good thing, from day one, shout out old school, but from day one, Frank the Tank is out. They are ready, sagging for flag seeking, I think what No Dunks called him. Scoop the coop, pooper scooper, scooper pooper, whatever you want to call it. They came out, and right before the game started, they're like, hey, Jonas Valanciunas, he's our starting center. Not today. Jonas Valanciunas came off the bench for the Wizards. The Wizards started 2 rookies and a second-year guy, and then Kuzma and Poole. So they had Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington got the start, which was what the surprise was. Kuz at the 3, and then I guess like Coulibaly was technically the 4. I don't even know who the 4 was. Sarr looked rough, guys. Sarr looked rough. 2 points, 5 boards, a steal, an assist, 2 blocks. Just kind of was out there, man. 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. Missed some ugly ones, too. Now, I'm still a Sarr believer in the fantasy world, but that's because I just think he's going to be out there for lots of time. Valanciunas did come off the bench, had 18 and 5 in 20 minutes. They had Kispert out there for 24 minutes. Kispert, start. I hope you're renting and you don't own in the DMV, because you will be on a different team soon. Nyshawn George looked all right, though, in the 20 minutes that he played. I forgot they got Marvin Bagley. Richaun Holmes, the only guy that didn't get into the game. So Celtics start out 2-0. Tatum looks awesome. We're seeing some VIP chatter already. Celtics look really good. I do think Tatum was attacking Sarr a lot. I know. I felt so bad. I was listening to the Celtics broadcast a little bit, and they just were like, every time Tatum got the ball. I do think the Tatum stuff, I think the Celtics are going to get off to a really hot start, and they're benefiting from continuity. That's for sure, right? Like, they're one of the few teams that have all of their pieces intact heading into their title defense here. So they should run off some W's right away as other teams are starting to gel. Let's go take a look at some of the action from Wednesday night here. I know we're going to still be on Celtic Pride, but let's go look at some of Wednesday night stuff. I'll pull up some box scores, and we'll just touch on it briefly. If you are a fan of a team losing a bunch of games, but one of the guys taking all of the shots, get ready for Brooklyn Nets basketball. They lost that game 120-116. As Cam Thomas scored 36 points on 27 shots, and just kind of, he's not passing it all this year, but that's fun. One other thing I wanted to highlight was, and I tweeted about this yesterday, Onyeka Okongwu. Are we finally seeing the flippening here? I'm going to pull up that box score. Okongwu here still came off the bench, but if you look at the minutes, Clint Capella played just over 19 minutes. Okongwu played 28 minutes, and in those 28 minutes, he had 28 points, going 11 for 12 from the field, 6 for 6 from the line, had 8 boards and 3 blocks as well. You guys know I'm an Onyeka fan. I wonder, the Atlanta stuff is going to be fun this year. They're going to be like a fun league pass team, I think. They're going to lose a ton, but I think it's going to be fun. But I'm into Onyeka right now. I'm into the Onyeka stuff. So get hyped for it. Get hyped for it. Yeah, sorry about the Brandon Miller advice. Well, he got hurt. That's not your fault. I will say the Charlotte Hornets and Houston Rockets are both going to be league pass teams here. That was a fun game. Charlotte comes back down 18, wins it 110-105. We got Charlotte Atlanta tonight, which is going to be exciting. So if you like, I don't know why it's not letting me click the box score. If you like, what's it called? If you like buckets, baby, get excited for that one. Lamelo 34, 11, and 8 in that game. Just incredible stuff. Was it a matchup advantage for Atlanta that allowed him to do that well? Some people are saying that. Brooklyn has a ton of big guys. So I don't know if that's what it was. But for Onyeka, I was more impressed by what Onyeka did compared to Clint Capella, since they both had the same matchup, right? But they that should continue tonight as they play the Charlotte Hornets, so that should be a fun one. But yeah, Lamelo looked awesome in this game. Şengün looked awesome too, but they kind of stopped going to Şengün in the second half, or the Batman Grant Williams shut him down. A couple other things from that game. Pistons, you should feel good. I think you're gonna lose a lot of games, but I don't know. Cade looked awesome. The Bucks Sixers, not a lot to take away from it. Bucks took care of business while the Sixers were without guys. The Bulls are a dumpster fire. Bulls are a dumpster fire. The other thing we need to point out is the Miami Heat, man. Miami Heat looked really, really bad. Really, really bad. But that was action from around the league. Let's get to two more stories here. Kawhi versus the Clippers. This was kind of a weird story that got reported yesterday afternoon. Let me see if I can find here. So here we go. I don't know if you guys can see it. This was reported at the end of the day yesterday. At the end of the day yesterday, ex-Clippers staffer sues the Clippers, says he was fired over Kawhi concerns. So this is reported by Baxter Holmes and Ramona Shelburne. Baxter Holmes, the guy who broke all the Phoenix Suns stuff about the owner a couple years ago. So a former LA Clippers strength and conditioning coach who says he was hired in 2019 as part of a years-long campaign to recruit Kawhi has sued the team and president of basketball operations, Lawrence Frank, alleging wrongful termination and part of raising concerns about the management of Leonard's health and injuries. So this also talks about tampering as well. Recommend you guys reading it if you want to. But it just kind of goes to show, I feel like nothing normal can happen in the Clippers. Nothing normal can happen over there. They actually looked pretty good against Phoenix. They looked scrappy, which maybe your takeaway is actually Phoenix might not be as good as we were hoping they were going to be, but they looked scrappy out there. James Harden was awesome. He had a near triple-double in that overtime loss. The wall in the new arena looks fun, right? But yet, anytime Clippers get any sort of positive momentum, this happens, right? Heading into the season, they were like, oh, Kawhi's not going to play in the preseason, but he's, ramping up. They're where he wants to be. Oh, he's going to miss game week 1. Yeah, I mean, he's going to miss night 1, but should be good to go. Now, Shams reporting yesterday or 2 days ago, Kawhi is set to miss weeks. But then they also still feel good with where he's at, which I don't understand. If you know that you're missing weeks, how you're in a spot where you want to be in, So I don't know. That's concerning moving forward. Just more weird stuff. We'll have to see how it plays out. The other thing is the NBA. Shams also reporting the NBA investigating investigating Joel Embiid. I don't know if we have this up. I don't know if I have that link up, but they're investigating Embiid based on the participation to play policy, and that's just kind of ruling guys out when without an injury. So Embiid hasn't been said to have an injury. They're just kind of ramping him up, which I don't understand. That's what the preseason and camp is for. So I don't know why he's not ready. And then, as David Hill was saying about Paul George set to miss the next 2 games as well. So Sixers are going to be starting out without their 2 main guys for the first couple of days, or first 3 games. And it's a bummer if you're a Philly fan, but I mean, this was the tightrope they were going to walk, right? Paul George played 70 games last season or 65, whatever it was. And it was that was the first time he had done that in the last 5 years, right? He normally plays around 50 games. And now you have Joel Embiid, who is already I'm not going to play 65 games. I'm not worried about awards or anything like that. So if 2 of your 3 best guys aren't going to be out there, I mean, this is the issue you're going to run into. You're going to need Kelly Oubre to cook. Now, tonight, I think they play Toronto, so that's really testing how bad the bench guys are for Philly, but we'll see. Yeah, a lot of Jared McCain stuff. Jared McCain played a couple of minutes in that first game. I still think McCain's going to get out there at some point. I just think people's expectations of rookies impacting the game in their first couple of games was kind of nuts. That's not going to happen on teams that are good. Not that I'm disagreeing with you that the prop up campaign for him, but he's not going to these rookies. You hope that they find their way into the rotation by February. That's what you're rooting for. If you're a good team, if you're a bad team, it doesn't matter. Sark, get out there. Castle, get out there. The Edey stuff is interesting. Edey fouled out immediately, missed a couple of free throws. He had a weird game against the Utah Jazz, but I don't know. People should not be panicking about those guys yet. It's early. It's early. We're early, just like Web3. We got Maggie Carp in the house. Let's go. How did you do last night in the Underdog streets? I'm devastated, man. The Underdog stuff's been killing me. I was so ready to stop playing football and get into basketball, and I just like 2 nights in a row. Night 1 was Scotty Barnes. Night 2 was Wemby, way overweight, and then they just take a duke on you. Let's look at what do we got for tonight's action here. Anything cooking tonight for games? I know we've got the return of Zion. Zion's finally making his debut. He's already been ruled in, which was good to see. No DeJounte Murray, who fractured his hand in night 1, which blows. Matty Harrison back to Philly was saying Philly's pick is 1-6 protected to OKC. Yeah, I mean, and they also have the Clippers picks too. So I mean, Philly's not going to fall into the lottery. I'm not worried about that. You played 0% clay and made money. How, dude? Oh, Lively, that'll do it. Yeah, I had a couple lineups saved me a little bit, but it was another L of a day. Charlotte, Atlanta, I swear that's going to be fantasy goodness. That's going to be a lot of fun. Really test Onyeka Okongwu. Also, I'm kind of into this Dyson Daniels experience next to Trae Young. Like, let Trae take over one end while he does the other. Detroit takes on Cleveland. What a juicy start to the season. They get Toronto and then Detroit basketball. Pacers in New York should have a lot of points in it. I think that'll be fun. People probably out on Jalen Brunson after that performance against the Celtics. I imagine he looks a little bit more effective tonight. We got Memphis and Houston. That's pretty good. Brooklyn and Orlando. I'm not going to watch a second of that. Mentioned Philly, Toronto, and then the late games. We got Chicago, Milwaukee. Probably won't watch that either. Warriors against Lowry, Suns and Lakers, and then the nightcap of Pellies and Trailblazers. Pellies and Trailblazers to shut it down. It's Zion night. Is Bronny playing again? No, Bronny's not playing again. That was a one and done thing. I imagine we see Cam Reddish before we see Bronny again. He can't go to the G League until like the second week of November because the G League hasn't started yet. I think the draft is like November 8th or something like that. All right, let's pop over to Underdog. Let's pop over to the dog app here. Don't worry, homies. I'm going to switch it. Bang. There you go. Segment 5. There we go. Segment 5. All right, let me pull up Underdog and then we'll share screen, see what's happening. I've decided, and again, if you are a member over on the Elite Fantasy Hoops channel, we'll have another members only stream, hopefully a little bit earlier today than other days, because we got live before lock again with our guy Worldwide Wob. So they got a 20% NBA boost still cooking. Any other boosts? Shout out Ship Chasing, who gave me another fat L last night. Let's actually real quick with the ranking stuff. You know who I'm excited about in this contest? They got 15K up top again, BT Dubs. DeAndre Ayton against a 6-round shout out if you're drafting. DeAndre Ayton against the Blazers. No DeJounte Murray. Maybe this game stays a little bit closer. No, DeAndre Ayton against the Pelicans. They don't have a center. So DeAndre Ayton should do stuff if they can keep this close. All right, let's build a pick'em. If you're ready to go already, let's build a freaking pick'em. All right, so you're saying you want some Onyeka points, rebounds, and assists. What's that looking like here? Onyeka's got 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Okay, it's a little bit higher than I would like. And then what was the other one? Lamelo over PRA as well. Is that what's that in the 48s? Oh, 39.5. Yeah, let's do it. And let's get one more in here. Also, you guys know this by now, but if you haven't signed up for Underdog, use promo code HOLD. Hold. You get a 100% deposit bonus match up to $1,000. Juan says, "Who's my team?" I'm from Boston, baby. From Boston. So go Celtics, kid. Go Celtics. Let's find one more. Let's actually look at Ayton's line. Ayton is 16 points. How many rebounds? 11 boards. Let's do the 11 boards. He should eat on rebounds. He should absolutely eat. So we're going to do that. Let's do that one. Anybody mad about that? You like the Paolo points? We can make it a 4-man. My only concern with this game is that it's just, I guess if they blow him out, Paolo has to score, right? Let's do a 4-man, 24.5. Sure. Did we apply the boost yet? Let's apply this. Apply. All right. So I'm not going to go crazy because I need to deposit again, most likely. But this is an 11x here, so we're going to be 10 to win 118. I'll share it into the chat. But for those podcast listeners, we're going to do Onyeka Okongwu over 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. LaMelo Ball over 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Higher than 11 boards for Ayton, and then higher 24.5 points for Paolo Banchero. We'll drop that in there. J-Mag, don't you worry. You start over, Jared. We already talked about those Thunder, baby. We talked about those Thunder. All right, gang. I think we might call it there today just because we have a busy day. Over here. Appreciate everybody tuning into the NBA Bit. Just a reminder over on the Elite Fantasy Hoops channel. This is what's going on over there today. We got a members-only video this afternoon going over the Underdog ranks and maybe some daily SORARE stuff, maybe just some more SORARE stuff in general. We also have Live Before Lock at 5 p.m. Eastern. First hour, just going to be your boy cooking. And then Worldwide Wob Rob Perez is going to join for hour number 2 as we go over all the late breaking injury news. There's also another SORARE NBA video dropping today as well. But if you need something else to watch right now, go check out the 89 Cavs on this channel from last night. It's good to cook with the fellers again. But hope everybody has a good weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Your boy's playing in a softball tournament. So Godspeed to my body. See you guys later.